Yeah, I'm live.
Hello and welcome back to another great episode of 406 Budcast. We've got a wonderful guest, Frank Chen, coming all the way from Canada to explore just some of the minor differences and what our local cultures are like. We look forward to talking more about that right after this short intro.
Yeah. Roll it up, line it up, listen up now. It's the 406 podcast gonna show you how cannabis culture, grow big strong. Hear the latest trends, you can't go wrong. Tune in today, yeah, knowledge on blast. #1 podcast, it's the 406 podcast. From strength to gains, they break it all down. Passion and hustle, wear the green crown. Industry insights right in your ears. Growing green dreams, no need for fears. Tune in today, yeah, knowledge on blast. #1 podcast, it's the 406 Budcast. Yeah. Cannabis culture, grow big strong. Hear the latest trends, you can't go wrong. Tune in today, yeah, knowledge on blast. #1 podcast, it's the 406 Budcast. From strengths to gains, we break it all down. Passion and hustle, wear the green crown. Industry insights right in your ears. Growing green dreams, no need for fears. Tune in today, yeah, knowledge on blast. #1 podcast, it's the 406 Budcast.
All right, welcome back, Budcasters. And as Daniel said right before the break, we have Frank Chen with us. Quick introduction. I've got Tanaki over here to my left. And of course, behind the scenes back there, keeping us on lock is Michelle. And then we've got Hannah across the couch, Daniel as well. He introduced us. So Frank, I mean, thank you for joining us all the way from Canada tonight. We appreciate you stepping on and joining us here in Montana and letting us know what's going on up there with you. So can you give us a quick introduction of yourself and a little bit of your history?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Frank. I am a cannabis grower from Canada. I've been growing cannabis since a little bit before legalization, since 2016, 2015.
Love it.
Started off in the medical grow, and then after legalization, I've joined the recreational side of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen a lot of grows. I've worked in a lot of grows from the basement grow, the legacy grows, to some legal indoor premium top-notch craft growers, to the largest greenhouse operation in Canada. So it's been a journey.
Wow, that is quite a spread.
Absolutely. I have so many questions to ask about the market up there. I will jump right into it. One of my first questions is, what's been the biggest pain point and growing point for you and the Canadian market as a whole? So for instance, I'll give you an example. In Montana right now, we're constantly battling the state legislation to ensure that cannabis stays legal and that, limits are not ridiculous and stuff like that. What kind of stuff like that have you experienced in Canada, or has it been pretty free?
I will say in terms of cultivation, it's been pretty free. I mean, obviously there are stuff that you can use that you cannot use, compared to the legacy market. But overall, there's hydro, there's traditional soil grow, there's greenhouse, there's living soil, there's all type of different grows here in Canada. And so I think in terms of that, that's we have the freedom. But in terms of business, a lot of business here are struggling to make a profit, but it's something to do with regulations and tax. So in that sense, that's will be the pain point that I see.
Yeah, seems to be the common trend across the United States as well, and it seems like it's Poland and in Canada. The regulation and the tax seems to be something that we have to constantly fight against. So you mentioned a lot of different growing styles there just a minute ago. What's your preferred method? I mean, do you have any one preferred method, or do you really like them all?
I do, actually. I'm more of an indoor grower. I've seen the greenhouse. I've done my own outdoor. But in the end of the day, I've enjoyed the 100% ability to control your environment in the indoor setup. So that's what I like. versus like outdoor. Obviously, depends on the weather, depends on a lot of other factors. Same as with greenhouse. But then,
Definitely.
yeah, for me, I'm more of an indoor guy.
Okay. And so do you prefer like the hydro drip method, or do you prefer like a living soil indoor?
Yeah, hydro dripper system. Yeah, or any sort of hydro, basically. Yeah, I like the cleanness, the efficiency.
Yeah.
So
More like that lab environment and just good quality grow.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're running a hydro at home right now,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, just a small hydro system.
it's been such a change from what we were doing. We were doing like a full 12 newt system every evening.
Mhm.
Organic teas, hand mixing a bunch of stuff. And now
Yeah.
we just have a big reservoir that we're measuring
pH.
AC and pH. And you're like, yep, that's good. And then you just move on with your day, It's
Yep.
kind of
Yeah. It's pretty efficient, like in terms of like labor saving, having the time you have to spend on watering. I remember I used to spend like 3-4 hours on watering back in the days, just hand watering everything. And then, being able to get rid of that is, such a relief. So that allows you to spend more time on, looking at how the plant react to, how much water you're putting in them, stuff like that, other, data and stuff. But
I feel like it's
really fun.
easier to get an exact rate on just how much plants are drinking and eating when you're using a hydro system too. You can just measure, well, I had 15 gallons today. I have 10 gallons left tomorrow. That means that they've been drinking 5 gallons a day or whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
Real
Most
quick,
definitely.
don't want to interrupt too much, but I do want to say hello to all of our guests out there. We've got Mama. We have Montana Horseman out there too. That is one of our customers that stopped by. He has a YouTube channel, and we made a little connection there. So it's fantastic
fun.
to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
That's
Miss Burns, we missed you. It's a pleasure to have you back. And Bobby Coleman, it's always nice to have you. Steve Turk as well. Yes, indeed. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe. I know we have.
Follow.
Yeah, we have a lot more people and activity on YouTube these days. So make sure that you're subscribing, hitting that notification bell for us. We surely appreciate that. Before we get too much deeper into Frank's information, let's go ahead and run that video real quick.
Yeah.
Started from the shadows back in the day, legacy grower, finding my way. Cannon to green, yeah, the game got tight. From basement lights to the lab so bright. Regulations hit, but I stayed in tune. Built my name under harvest moons. Genetics in my hands, I make them thrive. Strains so loud, they come alive. From legacy to legal, still growing strong. 9 years deep, yeah, the road's been long. I've seen the highs, I felt the lows, but the fire in my heart still grows. Canadian roots, worldwide dream, GPP certified, keeping it clean, UGMP, next level scene. Frank Chen's name stays evergreen. Talking terps, yeah, I know the taste. Dial in the climate, never no waste. From the old school growers to the modern day, we innovate, elevate, pave the way. Big labs, big plays, no shortcuts. Every plant that I touch got pure guts. Quality's king, yeah, that's my creed. Breed 'em right, then let 'em breathe. They said the game would change, I said let's grow. Took the knowledge, built the flow. Now the world wanna tap my brain. From Canada to Cali, know my name. From legacy to legal, still growing strong. 9 years deep, yeah, the road's been long. I seen the highs, I felt the lows, but the fire in my heart still grows. Canadian roots, worldwide dream, GPP certified, keeping it clean, UGMP, next level scene. Frank Chen's name stays evergreen. Still searching for the next great strain, still pushing through the law and chain. But one thing's true, the plant's still free, and the passion still burns inside of me.
hemp GPP certified, keeping it clean, EGMP level scene. Frank Chen's name stays evergreen. Still pushing for the next great strain, still pushing through the laws and chains. But one thing true, it's still free, and the passion still burns inside of me.
There you go.
Yep. There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Bring it
So,
back out.
so we've been working on a lot better quality video for you guys. So they're a lot larger. So we have to do a lot funkier stuff.
Yeah, we got to present it now. But anyway, that's back end stuff. We'll get better.
Yeah, it'll work out in the long run. But Frank, so
Yes.
I guess you mentioned working in the really different markets, legacy, in the current market, rec market right now, in the medical market. Which really did you prefer? Or like,
Yeah, what was your favorite time?
yeah, we understand regulations.
My favorite time was definitely the pre-legalization days, you know, the freedom to, you know, and the less of all these regulations, documentations that, you know, have to do.
Right.
Yeah, definitely the pre-legalization days. But I mean, also like, you know, when I was in my was my last company, the last company that I worked with, you know, they were the largest cannabis greenhouse operation in Canada. And you know, the first time that I walked into their nursery, their flooring rooms, you know, that I was blown away. You know, just the fact that, you know, being able to see so many cannabis plants legally grown under the sun, you know, that's definitely a different feeling. You know, they were harvesting like 100,000 plants every month. So that's a huge operation. So yeah, and
100,000.
Yeah.
in there, just seeing a limited canopy of cannabis plants, it was different.
Definitely.
Just
Yeah,
cannabis
you know,
as far as the eye can see.
I'm not sure that there's very many companies in Montana that harvest, you know, 100,000 plants roughly in a year, let alone every single month. That is
Crazy.
mass operation for sure.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I would love to see pictures of that.
Most definitely. And,
That's so
we certainly appreciate you know, all the information that you're sharing with us. So trying to take care of that big of a grow, I mean, logistically, I mean, that's got to be a bit of a nightmare, right?
Well, yes and no. Like in the end of the day, like, you know, like I've grown from like 200 plants to you know 2,000 or even more. Like in that company, I was doing more of a also on the post harvest side of the operation.
Okay.
But then, like, to me, in the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many plants you're growing. You're essentially trying to mimic that same optimal environment, right? Let it be 100 plants or 100,000 plants. So you know, every little spot in your grow room, it should be that optimal. So that's, you know, it's essentially you're doing the same thing. It definitely is harder and it requires more resource and people and all that, but like, you know, it's the same to me.
That leads me to a quick question, if you guys don't mind. Did in extremely large scale operations like that, did you find that there were little microclimates where some strains would grow better than others, or was it kind of a little bit more commercial than that?
I mean, definitely, but like when you're growing in such a scale, you're mostly looking for the consistency, right? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You could be growing like up to like, you know, like 15 different strains in one room. It's like a rainbow room, but like all you're looking for is, you know, the consistency in terms of the height, the yield, you know, how they adapt to the environment. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And in a operation that big, how many different kinds of strains would you be running? Just if you had to guess.
I think at the time, at least like 20.
Okay.
Honestly.
Interesting.
20 plus.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you obviously you guys went through probably a pretty long process of sourcing out which ones produced the best, gave you the optimal results of what you were looking for within your grow, and then stuck to those those 20 plants?
Pretty much, yeah. I would say, definitely there were some strains that, I mean, we grow plants based on like different reasons, right? Like sometimes it's based on, this plant adapt better to our grow system. Sometimes it's more of a marketing needs, what the market wants, in terms of like flavor, the aroma. So it depends.
What's the number one strain in Canada?
It's a tough one. Personally, I have a new favorite. It's called Project Z. It's grown by one of my buddy. He got a cup from a local breeder a couple years back. It's a cross between the Skittles and Runs. That one is pretty fire, but that in terms of the number one, it's tough to say. Like if you're looking, what's the top one selling strain from like dispensaries? Like to me, it doesn't always means like top quality.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, we can agree with you on that.
So you guys have a problem in Canada as well with people number hunting, just walking in saying, "Hey, give me the highest THC." Rather than looking at the terpene profiles and the way that it's cured and processed. And
definitely. We've been there. But I also want to say like back in the pre-legalization days, there's no such thing as like THC percentage, CBD.
Right. Yes.
Right? You open a bag, you either have the fire or you don't.
Right. I missed them.
Yeah. And now after legalized, people start, like window shopping, which lab had give you the best result. And we've been there, but also I want to say the consumer education is being largely improved over the years. So now you see people, the awareness is there. Like you see people stop hunting for like just numbers. They're looking for different aromas, different terps, different stuff. So
Yeah, we're still in that transition phase here in Montana. We got a lot of the THC hunters and stuff. Slowly but surely, the staff and other people are getting that education out there. But we're a bit restricted on what we can actually say to our customers and stuff. They don't want any anecdotal statements. We're not allowed to advertise on a lot of different levels. So, we're seemingly a few years behind Canada and the rest of the world. Sometimes that's good for us. Sometimes that's bad for us. But having people like you come on the show gives us a really good opportunity of looking at where our future might be and, where we're needing to really beef up some of our processes. And we appreciate you sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
I want to speak a little bit on that. I feel like this whole cannabis legalization, like, obviously the whole world is kind of waiting on the states to legalize, Obviously, Canada is one of the G7 members, but we're Canada. Like, to the world, like the States, once you guys legalize, you have a major impact to the rest of the world. But I've enjoyed seeing all this different type of legalization. Like looking at Thailand, they have more of I want to say like a more chill back, in terms of like regulations. There were a lot of like vendors popping up in the first couple of years, and now they're taking a step back. But there's more of like the tourism, people going there just want to, enjoy the cannabis effect. So, which compared to Canada, I feel is very different. Here, we have such a strict regulations that you guarantee you get like clean weed, your weed is tested.
Yeah.
But like in other areas, it might not always be the case, but it also allows like more opportunities and other stuff to be booming. So I like that.
Do you guys actually have a purchase limit up there?
Purchase limit of
how much cannabis people can purchase? We have we can't sell more than an ounce a day here in Montana.
I don't know from the retail side, but I think for a consumer you can buy up to like 1 ounce or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
A single purchase, I believe.
Pretty similar then.
Yeah. All right. I was just curious.
It makes sense. I think like Frank was saying, a lot of regulation is based off what is happening in the US. And
and I think with what we have going on as far as how many states have already got some sort of form of legalization, including the District of Columbia, it doesn't make sense that we don't have legalization in the United States. I know there's a lot of pressure being pushed on the administration to go ahead and legalize that. I'm hoping things will play out the way that everybody's saying. But I mean, it's seemingly just wrapped up in endless court battles, even on the FDA level. And hopefully, more and more states will just legalize. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be a very moot point that
Right.
every single state in the United States has legalization. The federal government really doesn't have much to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
one way or another.
Yeah. I mean, we're already, what is it, like 42 states out of 51 or whatever?
Right.
Including DC as
No, 50 states.
yeah. I said including DC, right?
Right. Well, they're District of Columbia. They're
Yeah.
not a state, unfortunately.
Thank goodness.
Like
I'm
to
just
think
kidding.
that? I don't know.
So yeah. But yeah, no, I think that like Frank was saying, as far as our federal push, it seems to constantly stall out, and they don't seem to quite get what the rest of the nation is saying when it comes to cannabis.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I feel like that's been the case with the safe banking bill that's been stagnate for how many years at this point?
Don't even get me started.
On
I mean,
the safer banking
it
Act?
would behoove them to actually do that because the amount of money and everything that it would generate. And right now, I mean, and Frank may be able to touch on this, on what's going on in Canada and stuff, but a lot of the bigger businesses are starting to have some falter points. They're starting to, not be able to function properly because they don't have the access to capital that they need to continue to grow and fund their businesses properly. So, you hit a sort of a ceiling to where your growth is pretty much limited without that access to capital.
Do you guys experience any problems with banking in Canada, or have you guys grown past that? How did that all play out for you guys?
I think so, and I think it's also something to do with how the whole industry performs, right? Like it was relatively easy to get big fundings in the early days. Everyone is looking to get into this like growing rush here in Canada, so a lot of capital flooding. But then also over the past I guess 7 years since the legalization, you see a lot of companies that go bankrupt, major layoffs, or shutting down the facility, stuff like that. It's something that happens like almost daily here in the past 5 years or so.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I think
a lot of the companies were not, it could be the regulation, it could be the tax, it could be the funding, or it could be like people. Not everyone knows how to grow like proper weed, or know how to operate properly. So yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, and then there's also the people who they can't quite. They were part of the market before legalization. They can't quite adapt to the rules and stuff, and so basically, whatever regulatory body pushes them out of the market.
100%,
However,
100%. Yeah. A lot of the growers that I know that have been growing for over like 20, 25 plus years, they're no longer in the industry, because if they were here, they'll be getting like hourly, Yeah. And like, well, salary is one thing. Like for growers, we don't always have the the competitive package, and then also there's, like I said, there's a lot of the new regulatory requirements that these legacy growers need to adapt, and not everyone can do it as say.
Most definitely. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how Montana plays out. Senate Bill 27 seems to be working its way through, which would allow some outside investment probably to come into the Montana markets. It's going to freeze us as far as the amount of the licenses that can be sold, but the amount of licenses they're going to issue anymore, but it does allow us to sell our licenses. So I'm going to be very interested to see how many of the bigger companies from outside of Montana are coming in, because we have a pretty big company here in Montana that seems to be gobbling up quite a bit of the smaller companies as well. So did you guys see quite a bit of that, mergers and acquisitions, where it started off as sort of a mom and pop operation and then it turned into a much more bigger conglomerate?
Well, what I see a lot of like emerging, like buying acquisitions in the early days, but like, just buying more market share doesn't mean you will always get more market share. You're probably just renting it, right? So there's a lot of like these major corporates. They were buying, small micro operators in the early days, but it doesn't really lead them, too far, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still happening. But at the same time, especially here in Canada, over the past, I want to say 2-3 years, there's a lot of the micro, medium, small size growers. They're starting to jump into the market, which to me, I think this is great. We've been through a few waves of the shuffling in the early days, and now there's a lot of good players, more good players, or people who know what they're doing in the market now. So
yeah, good. Well, that's encouraging to hear for sure.
I've got a question. We home grow. There are a lot of rules and regulations on exactly how many plants I can have at what stage and so on and so forth. What's home growing like in Canada? Is it per province?
We are allowed to do, like, per residential, you're allowed to do 4 plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that including veg and flower, or?
I would say yes. So like total 4 plants, but yeah, that the photo that I show in the video with my daughter was that the outdoor 4 plants. That was something I had in like 2022 in my backyard.
Nice.
Yeah.
So having a small plant limit like that really encourages you to grow some giant monsters then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, 4 plants, you could grow like tiny plants. You could also grow like, big ass trees.
Yes, indeed.
So do you have some complications with the weather up there in Canada with your growth cycle? You got to be pretty selective on what you're growing outdoors versus indoors.
Not as much. You typically get here in BC, you typically get, for outdoor, you get like one harvest, I'll say, for home growth. But I would say for BC, the weather is decent. You're able to basically take out your plant in like early April or so, and then it will probably start flowering like July, August. You can have an early harvest in like end of October or so.
Okay, so almost dead on, just like Montana's weather.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very similar.
So, yeah,
Awesome.
that's fun.
Super cool.
So we heard your sort of favorite strain that you're working with as far as smoking. What's your favorite strain to grow that you've grown over the years?
I want to say I don't really have a favorite strain to grow. Like, to me, I'm always looking for something better. I don't know if it sounds like cliche.
I know exactly how you feel.
That's, to me, it's always that. Yeah.
No, when I first started growing, I was like, oh, I'm going to, save this clone and I'm going to have this clone forever and ever. And now at this point, I'm like, no, I want a new seed every single plant. I want to experience something brand new from a new breeder.
Then, like, another aspect is, as a grower, like, it doesn't matter what you grow, you need to have them adapt into your growth system, right? Because what I see in the greenhouse, you're growing like 12 different strains. You could have some like, short kush, you could have some like taller sativas, or, stretching hard. So that's a matter of how you make them, to be a part of your system, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
A lot of planning coming on the forefront before you even start the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. I'd like it. I think I do similar.
We do
try
a lot
to
of planning.
Yeah,
not a lot of solid decisioning until we're actually doing it. Usually.
Yeah, roll with the punches kind of grower.
Yeah.
Well, and they talk also about the fact that they're home growing, but everybody here also works for, our cannabis company here in Montana, and does a wonderful job of growing, on a much larger scale than just a couple of plants. So,
Thanks, mate.
they don't give themselves enough credit. But we certainly appreciate everything that you're certainly coming in and sharing with us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love your pictures.
the insights
Oh
are
my
just
gosh.
unreal. And some of that weed, I mean, my God, bro, that is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the video.
So what kind of nutrients are you using? I mean, don't give us the entire recipe or sauce if you don't want to, but
I typically if it's my system, I do a drip line. I use cocoa, Kavita, traditional HPS or LEDs. In terms of nutrient, I do Athena Pro lines.
Okay,
Ah,
sure.
that's awesome. That's what we're running
Heck
right
yeah.
now in our hydro system at
Yep.
home.
It's been so awesome.
Mhm.
Again, just so
Yeah,
convenient.
we
Set it
had
and
Just
forget
don't-
it.
Yep.
Ryan,
Have to do
who's a rep
anything.
from Athena, come on
Mhm.
the show and
Mhm.
give us a pretty good rundown on that. And
Yeah.
seems like they're doing a lot of good work out there. So, I mean, obviously you've used a lot of different brands. What made you land on Athena?
Just the consistency, I'll say.
Okay.
Oh.
And the simpleness.
Yep.
Sure.
The
You know,
pro
like,
line.
we like I said, we've tried like so many different nutrients, throughout the day. Like we've used like part A, part B, we have used the 3-part, we have used all the different, body enhancer supplements, spray this and that, but then the simpler is usually the better. So after a while I switched to just A and B and just try to stay simple that way.
Yeah.
Mhm. Control everything else in your environment to
Yeah,
maximize
exactly.
your goods, right?
Yeah.
Get your VPD and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
Oh man, good stuff.
So, I mean, you said it. Go ahead and let everybody know what VPD actually is.
Oh geez, I'm pretty sure it stands for vapor pressure differential. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've read the books, but
I remembered right.
yeah, it basically just has to do with the temperature of your environment versus the relative humidity, and it allows I believe it was the stoma of the plant to open and close more or less efficiently depending on your VPD and what stage it's in. We had a guest on who explained
now
all
we're
this.
educational and everything.
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
You know, we
And
got to
we
throw
had
out
it on
that
trivia.
disclaimer.
Not for
Yeah,
sale,
I-
blah blah blah.
I feel like my trivia has also touched on that subject
Yeah.
before.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it was
definitely.
the
yes.
Athena night. I think it's when we had
I-
Ryan on.
Gibberellin.
Anyway, sorry, that just popped into my
Hey,
head.
speaking of, why don't we go ahead and roll right on into that, if you don't mind, Frank? We're going to step right on into that next segment.
All right, give me just a second.
Stoner trivia.
Smoking like a rasta, feeling so high. We talk about cannabis and getting fly. Are you smarter than a stoner? Let's find out. Listen up,
B, the
my
plant's
friends.
flavor
I
and
got
aroma
something to
compounds.
shout. Cannabis
C, the plant's
knowledge,
fibers.
let it flow through your mind. Getting blazed, smoking loud, we all unwind. Trivia questions, can you keep up the pace? Let's see if you're sharper in this smoky haze.
What?
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Nah, we're back, and we are ready this time.
We
What?
were. We had to fake a blooper.
Oh, wrong one.
Sorry,
We
coming
got
up
that.
later.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yes, it is a funky evening, guys.
It is a
Yeah,
funky.
we skipped strain of the week. We
That's
normally
okay.
do strain of the week before me.
We
That's why
we
I'm a
can
little
wait.
thrown off.
we were.
can
It
wait.
felt like trivia time.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just messed myself up. Give me 2 seconds. You can go to number
One,
iPhone generation.
2. All right.
Okay. Number 1. Which strain is believed to have played a major role in the development of modern haze hybrids due to its long flowering cycle and cerebral effects? A. Thai stick. B. Afghan Kush. C. Hindu Kush. Or D. Bubba Kush.
Oh boy, I have no idea.
Bubba Kush. No, I'm with Nate B.
Frank, you got a shout out there on what you thinking it is?
I think it might be A or B.
All right, cool.
My guess is A, so I'm gonna go with A, but it is a guess. I truly don't know the answer to this.
I don't
I'm a
know.
little embarrassed. I used to care a lot more about genetics, but
So we got a B in the comment so far.
I'm going with B.
all right, Tanaki.
A is the correct answer.
What?
It's
Yeah, I knew it the whole
It's
time. I
A.
never doubted myself once.
Okay, don't go with the Hannah answer.
Number 2. How does the terpene humulene influence the effects of certain cannabis strains?
Can I smoke some real quick?
Oh, we got Kirk
We were just
saying
talking about this the
D.
other day.
Were we?
Yeah.
It contributes to
A. It contributes to a sedative effect by enhancing GABA receptor activity. B. It amplifies THC absorption by increasing CB1 receptor sensitivity. C, it acts as an appetite suppressant, countering the munchies.
Man, I don't know about that.
Or D, it is only present in cannabis roots and has no effect on the user.
I know people keep telling me about this whole appetite suppressant effect. I'm like, that's never happened.
Right.
To me. That has never happened to me.
I don't care which strain I'm smoking. I'm still eating.
Yeah. Frank, what do you think on this one?
Pick B.
B?
Yeah.
I wanted to go with that one, but I think I'm going to guess C this time, just because we talked about it.
I'm gonna go with A.
A? Wow, widespread today.
Hannah.
I'll answer last.
What do you guys think in chat? I know we've got a lot of people out there tonight, so you're just being slow.
You know,
Kirk.
last week we had look, was it Holly?
Holly.
Yes, with the tallow. She said that the longest answer seems to be the one. So I'm going to go with A because it's the longest answer.
That's a good guess.
Any other guesses in the
And
chat?
it has GABA in it. So, I mean, like GABA, GABA do.
It's the G words.
What is your guess, Hannah? You're the
C.
last one.
C.
C.
C is the correct answer.
Oh, looky there. No,
It is, but I always get the munchies too. Granted, there are some strains that I just are like, go, go, go. You don't have time to eat. You got to clean your house.
We like those strains.
Yeah, we do. For cleaning the house. Green crack
Green crack's
is
a great one. I'm always surprised by green crack. I've had some green crack that is not of the highest percent, so I'm never expecting it to do anything. And then I smoke a joint of it, and next thing you know, you got that cheek pull, and you're sitting there, you're like just getting busy, you're pacing around, and you're like, damn,
that green crack.
that green crack still works, huh?
Yep. It is how the name sounds.
Ready for the next one?
Mhm.
Yes. Number 3, which strain is known for being a direct descendant of Afghani landrace genetics and is one of the purest indica strains available?
Ooh, I think I know this one.
A,
Well, especially based off the answers.
Purple Kush. B, Northern Lights. C, Amnesia Haze. Or D, Acapulco Gold.
Going D. I'm just kidding.
Going down for D.
Hmm.
Everybody,
I can't.
wants to be
I don't want
first?
to do that. We're not going to do that because we'll get banned or whatever. Anyway, my answer. I'm going to guess B. Kirk is going C. A is what he wants it to be. Purple Kush. Fair enough.
That's what I wanted to be too, but
I'm going with A.
think it's B.
I'm going with B. I think Northern Lights is about as indica as it gets.
I really think that's
You know?
just
Well, what I'm looking at though is
I
the
think-
Afghan land race genetics.
Genetics,
And
yeah.
so, I mean, you're pretty close to the Hindu Kush Valley.
I'm gonna have to go with A for that reason
Okay.
too.
yeah.
Yeah, Wayman.
Mayman says D.
All right, man.
What up, brother?
I'm sticking with B.
Tanaki, what's your guess? No
Yeah,
one ever asked
what's
Tanaki what her guess is. Okay.
I feel like I can't guess because I know the correct answer.
Oh well, it was worth a shot.
If you didn't know the answer.
Frank, what about you? Before we hit that answer,
I'll say A.
A. All right.
The correct answer is B.
Oh,
Wow.
I knew it.
Rolling for the win.
I actually knew about this one. I was so sure about it.
I'm gonna have to call out the fact checkers on this one.
I'm
Wait.
thinking Daniel looked up the answer.
Who uploaded this? Who put this on the
There's
StreamYard
no-
tonight?
There's no answers in StreamYard.
That's what I said earlier when I
keep
looked
the
at them. Just kidding.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Only if you get caught.
Number 4. What is the primary mechanism by which CBD modulates the psychoactive effects of THC? A, it enhances THC's effects by increasing CB1 receptor binding. B, CBD inhibits the FAAH enzyme, increasing, anandamide
Yeah.
levels instead of THC activation. C, CBD antagonizes CB1 receptors, reducing THC's psychoactive impact. Or D, it binds directly to dopamine receptors, counteracting THC-induced euphoria.
I don't have the D. Like, oh no.
I hate it when I lose my D.
Really,
Happens more and more when you get older. You know?
I am really glad I gained a filter this week.
You gained
not-
a filter?
It was not internet appropriate. It was about to just fly out of my mouth.
I'm proud
We'll
of you.
move on.
I'm really proud of you.
When your kids start repeating what you say, you gotta watch what you say.
That's definitely true. Oh my goodness.
Gracious.
Heard more
Yes,
F words
yes.
than I ever wanted to.
I'm going
I know.
with C.
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
What do we got out in the chat?
Frank, what do you think?
I say A.
All right.
I feel like there's two separate applications though.
I guess I'm gonna go with A too. I think. I don't know though for sure. My second guess would be the opposite of A, which is C. So clearly, I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm going longest answer on this one and D.
All right,
Yeah.
good guess. Good guess.
Anybody from the chat?
Charlie? Charlie the dog. What do you think?
He is thinking the door would be awesome right about now. Mama holding.
The correct answer is C.
Oh,
I was thinking, okay, so this is my thoughts here. CBD, you take the CBD to reduce the green sickness
Mhm.
of THC.
oh, true.
And so that was my thought of CBD is your counter effect of your THC.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
was
what I was
wondering
thinking, too.
if any of you guys were going to draw on that remembrance.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I use that religiously. What are we talking about?
If you're greening out, you can use CBD isolate or just like CBD, straight CBD to help reverse some of those effects.
Yeah,
It does
make you
take
feel
us
pull
a
yourself
second.
out.
It is not immediate, but holy moly, does it help take you off that edge. It's crazy. But I was also meant like the combination of THC and CBD is really good for pain and for sleep
But they're
and those
getting
kind
different
of
receptors.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's a great question. Do you guys see a lot of one-to-one strains and stuff up there in Canada being called for? Or like, what are the type of strains that you're seeing mainly that people are really after or as customers in Canada?
Or
Like,
products.
strain wise,
or products too.
Yeah,
like
product or
one-to-one
strain wise,
products.
like one-to-one products or CBD.
it depends on the provinces. In BC, I guess here people in BC more enjoy the cannabis in dry flowers, whereas I think in like Ontario, there's more like other extractions. Yeah. But in general, there's we have all type of like capsules, lotions, dry flowers, oils, tinctures. Yeah, it's everything you can get from a local dispensary.
Nice. So pretty much the standard gambit.
Yeah, just everything you could want.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I know you can't see me, Frank, but back here, we're trying to get that fixed up again. But my question is like right now we see, like we were talking to Cynthia in New York, and their edibles have like almost no limit, whatever. They have like 500
milligram
milligram
edibles,
drinks
stuff like
and stuff
that.
like that. Here in Montana, we're being like actually reduced by our amounts even more and more by the legislation each session. So do you guys have limits? And if so, what are those?
So it'll be 10 milligrams.
10 milligrams per dose? And do you-
Yes. It's for
do you have-
yeah.
Do you have a
limit for-
package dose or a package limit? Like our package limit is 100 milligrams.
I would say I'm not exactly 100% sure, but I want to say it's similar, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the per
Interesting.
say like gummies limit would be like 10.
Okay, so
Wow.
yeah, probably about the same.
Yeah.
But it really is South Montana, North Montana. Anyway,
No.
we joked that.
Wait.
Yeah. Anyway,
You got to tell the story, Nate, so that way he understands where it's coming from.
It was actually I think a movie or something.
yeah,
that they
my
were talking
reference
about.
is
Meet the
from
Robinsons.
Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly right.
You mean North Montana?
Yeah.
Oh, my Atlanta.
Great movie.
I'm actually really curious, flower wise, at least in Montana, there's not too many strains that have CBD still in them. It's pretty well bred out at this point. Do you guys have any like still pretty mixed strains? Do you guys have it pretty well bred out at this point? Or?
I mean, you start seeing we do have some like 1-to-1s, and then there's you see a increasing demand on those like mix. So yeah, yes.
Oh, that's a dream. I wish we'd have.
Yeah, I know there are breeders who like specifically breed like type 2, type 3, which is like 1-to-1 or yeah, more people are doing that too.
That's exciting. I hope that the future goes towards that direction too. If we could find some weeds that are
more
some
full spectrum.
strains. Imagine a 16%, 16% weed.
Look at European geneticists.
Oh.
So I was scrolling through, I can't remember what the seed bank was called, but like there's this seed bank that has a list of all of the shit ton of different seed providers. And I was looking at one that's specifically from Europe, and they have a lot of CBD high strains where their THC is really low or mid, but the CBD is super high.
Interesting.
I think we bred that out. We initially had some high CBD strains, and somebody was talking about that on a forum here just a minute ago about how in California they had a lot of high CBD THC strains, and so there was a lot of good balanced strains like that. But in Montana, they were having troubles finding any strains that actually had the THC in them. And I think everybody was so after the high THC content that people really didn't pay attention to those kind of strains and keep them around.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate.
Damn number hunters.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
I mean, getting on my nerves this week, guys.
No, yeah, the THC seeking is real because people don't realize that it's not everything about the bud is going to be the THC. Like a lot of your effects you're feeling off of them are the terpenes and the other cannabinoids that are all in that bud.
I liken it to, the Everclear experience. I mean, if you're running around looking for the highest THC, that's like looking for the highest alcohol content. I mean, yeah, it's going to get you drunk. It's going to get you smashed sometimes, and not necessarily so. I mean, there's some 34, 35% THC products out there that I've smoked. Didn't faze me one bit. Go and smoke a 20%, with high terpene content, just absolutely wonderful experience, long lasting, definitely brought you through the experience nicely. And so I think once people get the education like they have in Canada and stuff like that, we're going to start seeing a shift in our market pretty big.
I mean, I'll say it. If you can't enjoy a 26%, then you should probably take a tea break.
If you can't enjoy a 20%, you should enjoy a tea break.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't enjoy a 20%, you should smoke it, Dad.
I guess that's always true. There's options for everyone.
I
I have a question for you, Frank. With your guys, you spoke about the oil market a little bit in Canada. What kind of oils do you see? What's the most popular? Do you see live resin, live rosin? Terp sauce. Shatter? I don't know. What's popular?
We have all those like terp sauce, live resin, full spectrum. Yeah, you can get those in the dispensaries as well. Yeah, and there's increasing demand. I want to say overall. I mean, this is an increase. It's a growing industry, even though it grows a bit slow. But the whole population is still growing. So yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't choose to consume cannabis by smoking. So the different generations, so that
a lot more edibles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
We see the same here. We get a lot of a little bit older generation. They want more of the edibles and stuff like that, less of the vapes or the smoking.
Exactly. Yeah.
The younger generation, they seem to really be in tune to the vapes and want those
in the US,
especially in the US. And then we have the middle generation. They're pretty heavy into their pre-rolls. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loves to smoke some joints.
Yep.
Mhm.
Pretty classic.
Mhm.
Speaking of joints, are we gonna do a strain?
So yeah, we better bust off into the strain of the week
Our
real quick.
strain of the
Yep.
week.
We had the fortune to enjoy this strain in studio, so we'll have plenty to talk about right after this.
In the garden where the flavors bloom, there's a strain that lifts the room. Lemon zest with cherry sweet, gelato mix that's hard to beat. Lemon cherry groove, feeling alright. Euphoric waves taking flight. Relaxation in every puff. This funky strain's the good stuff. Hybrid vibes with THC high. 20% to touch the sky. Anxiety and stress it fights, turning heavy days to light. Lemon cherry groove, feeling alright. Euphoric waves taking flight. Relaxation in every puff. This funky strain's the good stuff. Bred by backpack boys with care. Lime and berry scents in the air. Carrier filling leads the way in this groovy, funky display. Lemon cherry groove, feeling alright. Euphoric waves taking flight. Relaxation in every puff. This funky strain's the good stuff. So when you need to ease your mind, lemon cherry gelato's the kind. A flavorful journey, oh so sweet. A funky rhythm in every beat.
We're getting it.
Woo!
We're getting it.
We are back. We are unmuted, and we are back.
We're ready to go. All right. So you guys chose out lemon cherry gelato. She's a really nice hybrid. Again, we did get to try her before the show tonight. She's really tasty. I can't quite pin the flavor.
It was extremely gelato
Yeah.
for me.
Well, there's that. But honestly, very uplifting. I've been enjoying her this whole show time. I think I saw when Nate and Michelle went to pick it up today. Was it at 312 or
312?
312.
312? I think I noticed Holistic Relief and Elevated had some live rosin and some other concentrates of it. So those are around. I think I noticed it's like a 60-40 sativa hybrid. So really, really nice that way. Crossed a couple different ways. So Sunset Sherbet, Girl Scout cookies, also a different type of runts and gelato cross Z. But going to be really nice and tingly, relaxing, giggly strain, high in caryophyllene.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely high in caryophyllene.
So I got a lot more of the limonene when we smoked it, and so it got that really, really lime flavor to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I had kind of like a limey, citrusy flavor for sure.
I was trying to pin that. I couldn't. My tongue.
I love that you just combine lime, citrus, pepper, and like flowers, and you can just have a full spectrum of flavors in the human brain, from meat to freaking apples and bananas. It's crazy. I love terps.
Well, and
Terps are weird.
the fact that it's a Girl Scout cookie and what sherbet cross,
Yep.
with its parents, and maybe that was the sherbet I was tasting on the dominant side.
Yeah, the Sunset Sherbet is, I believe, the gelato cross something.
Kind of sweet.
Yeah, it was. We just grew a lilac diesel cross Sunset Sherbet, and it has a pretty similar, very lemony flavor.
Yeah.
I thought they actually tasted pretty similar.
I agree with you. Because when we were smoking that joint earlier, I thought it tasted very similar to the bowl we had the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I saved my bowl.
The bowl's still there. Daniel almost stole it this morning.
Yeah,
I know.
I grinded up more and smoked another bowl. So,
So, Frank, any experience with the lemon cherry gelato?
No.
Okay.
do you like any gelato strains? I know you were talking about the Project Z earlier.
Yeah, I like those ones. But yeah, gelatos, and some Skittles mostly.
Skittles,
Mm.
a lot of runs and stuff.
Yeah.
So more of the fruity kind of flavors and stuff like that. Is that sort of what you're after?
Yeah, well, fruity or like the sweet,
Berry.
Just that candy flavor whenever you take that first hit.
Mm. I do love it when you get that strain where you take your hit and you exhale and then you lick your lips and it tastes like sugar.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking
That
about?
blueberry ice pop.
Mm. That was yummy. I
It
felt
was
like the
really
blueberry ice pop was a little bit more menthol, where it's like you get that really cold breath, if you will.
Well, and I think a lot of that goes into the way that you're curing and everything else like that. I mean, what's your favorite method of curing? And if you don't mind, take us.
The industry standard is like 1660, right? 16 degrees Celsius and 60% relative humidity for like 2 weeks. So that's been the standard.
Dry and cure, and then do you guys just put that into jars or appropriate bags or whatever and burp it from there, or just straight to the shelves? Or
It depends on your process. Like some producer, they have the time and they were willing to put in the effort to cure them for a week or two or so in turkey bags in a bin. Or some people don't always have the ability to do that. So
sure,
yeah, gotta do what you gotta do for sure. Absolutely. Have you ever heard of I guess it would be like, I suppose you could just call it a giant walk-in environment, but they have a product for home growers in the US that is essentially just a little wine cooler fridge that keeps that environment perfect. It's a really, really fantastic tool. I suppose in large operations, though, you just make a whole room like that.
Can controller.
Yes.
Yeah, that has been convenient.
Losing you just now. What did you say? Sorry.
Oh, I do see we are having just a minor connection issue right now, so I'm sorry, Frank, if you're having a hard time hearing us, but we can just move on to the next little bit until the connection improves. I suppose let's get right into that news. We're actually almost at an hour already, so
smokes.
Right on. Well, let's hop right on into that intro.
Cannabis updates fresh and real. Tune in with Nate, it's the big deal. Cannabis news with Nate, let's go. Every story makes you glow. Stay informed, don't be late. Cannabis news with Nate.
All right, Budcasters, we're back. And by the way, everybody out there on YouTube, every other platform, go ahead and smash that like button right down there. So we're going to get into the news real quick, but also we're going to give a
I had to sneak one in. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. We're going to give you a contribute to our friends up north. And for Frank joining us here, we've got some cannabis first. It seems like they're blazing down there. Canada's cannabis industry is flexing their proverbial muscle at about 8.3 billion CAD for the country's GDP in 2024 alone. So yeah,
billion with a B.
With the B.
Dang,
So Canada is
3 billion.
in 2024 alone. They knocked it out. The licensed cannabis production was about $7.4 billion. The legal retail sales were about 951 million. And the illicit market was $2.6 billion. So actually the legal market for the second year in the row has outpaced the illicit market according to the numbers. But I'm not sure that everybody in the illicit market is necessarily reporting their numbers.
Right. Probably true.
So the interesting thing about all of that is like, I mean, really, if you look at where they're at in Canada, that's outperforming like a lot of propane. I mean, a lot of big number items for their GDP. Cannabis is actually outproducing a lot of that, and I think Montana needs to sort of pay attention to what a good, honest, regulated market, but not too regulated, not too taxed, could actually produce for you. A great GDP driver for sure. And it seems like one of the things that they're saying up there is pre-rolls, just like here in the United States. Up there in Canada, that's the big ticket item that sells the most. Wow. In 2024, at least, was pre-rolls.
Dang.
It's all about having, you don't have to do anything. It's just ready to spark up.
Well,
It's just so nice.
I like the pre-rolls too because you don't have, there's no pipe. You don't have to like have a pipe with you afterwards. You smoke your joint, you get rid of your cone, which probably in the trash or whatever, and then it's done. It's gone.
Yeah.
There's no, you don't have anything.
Ample amount of outdoor activities that it's nice to just pop your pre-roll.
Definitely. Well, and then you also have the fact that, I mean, cannabis is actually a GDP engine is outproducing their breweries, their wineries, their dairies, and even coal.
I'm not sure what's going on, but it is like seriously fighting me.
Oh, did we lose a camera?
Now we're losing a camera.
We're losing like all of the cameras. It's like the switchboard itself.
Well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We're going to try to run through it, folks. But moving on with the news real quick so we can get through it all. Normally we take some commentary, but we're just going to keep the show rolling. The Public Safety Institute found that 3 out of 4 cannabis consumers believe products from licensed retailers are free from contaminants. So that brings up an interesting idea that, just because somebody's licensed, does that actually mean that they're selling stuff that's free from contaminants? And is that trust warranted? And really, are all these testing regulations really necessary on a certain level?
Yeah. We got it figured out. We're
Cool.
good.
Awesome. Great work, team. So yeah, basically,
what are the testing requirements like in Canada? I know that you actually have the GPP and the GMP standard. What is that like? Because I guess we have a different standard. Well,
it's more on the process and documentations, but like in terms of testing, like we have to do like the full NLS COAs for like every single batch that you sell to the market. Yeah, which will include, obviously your CBDs, GSC level, terp level, heavy metals, any pesticides, stuff like that.
Molds or anything like that. Yeah, it's pretty much the same panels that we have here, and it seems to be pretty much an industry standard at this point, whether it be United States, Canada, or Europe.
Better every year.
So, talking about veterans real quick. According to a recent study published in the JAMA Network Open, 4 in 10 U.S. military veterans with chronic pain report using medical marijuana to treat that condition. And it seems like a lot of the VA doctors are starting to come on board with the idea that it's helping a lot more with pain. I think this is a really good step forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more doctors within the VA system recommending this. But I think overall, what they're finding is that with pain pills and with the cannabis, as far as the chronic pain goes, there's a lot better delivery system to the central nervous system.
I know a lot of people don't even need their pain medicine after they start having cannabis in their life. And it's been quite some time, but I actually have had people come in to the dispensary and tell me that their VA doctor recommended they come in and buy cannabis.
Definitely. And, I think as far as what we're going to find out with these studies and everything else like that is that cannabis needs to really play a vital role within our medicine structure, as well as being available recreational for people who want to use it for whatever purpose they want to use it for.
Absolutely. It kind of goes back to an interesting question, if we reduced all of this down and you were able to just take a little tablet that produce the exact same effects as smoking, would you switch to it?
Well, I think that's sort of the Rick Simpson oil, right?
I was
True.
just gonna say we have that option.
Look at that. They already figured it out. Those damn stoners.
They were ahead of science by like 20 years. The lazy stoners.
Rick Simpson oil is pretty amazing.
So on the Montana front, obviously we have our legislative session popping out every 2 years for 90 days, and they run amok as much as they can. It looks like right now the big news that's going on there, Senate Bill 27 is going to move forward, but Senate Bill 307 is also moving forward. That's the one where they're taking the money from one fund, giving it to the other fund, basically rather than reduce taxes and driving economic growth in Montana. They're just arguing over who gets to get what from the proverbial tax man.
Whose pocket gets deeper?
Right.
What?
Well, and I mean, it's over trail systems versus drug prevention and treatment and stuff like that. And if you look at a lot of the stuff, I mean, you have Senator Greg Hertz, you have Steve Zabawa, you have all these, people saying we need this money for drug prevention and for addiction treatment, being how you're now authorizing a Schedule I drug to be used in the state of Montana. And so now we need this to be given to addiction prevention and to law enforcement. But what I see largely from a lot of this is, a lot of these people may or may not be invested in the drug treatment industry and want to keep and perpetuate that system moving forward. And, without those dollars.
Right. Well, and I thought the DARE program actually dropped cannabis as a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Even. So it feels like
some people are just behind the times.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, but time to move forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liken them to a lot of people who are screaming about the telegraph just going to ruin the world, and then, I mean, they resisted it and cut down telephone poles and tried to keep it from happening. But nowadays we got cell phones.
And how many different bills did this small team of people put forward to try to hamper or hinder the cannabis industry this year?
Well, even Steve Zabawa, he admitted when he was testifying in front of Senate Bill 443 that he's been up there for 15 years trying to thwart, the will of the voters for the last 15 years. And any way possible, they come up, they, run these things up the flagpole. They tried to drop us down to limit us on THC percentage to 15%,
including concentrates,
concentrate and edibles.
What does
and
that
stuff
even
like
mean?
That? I mean, and there's absolutely no demand for 15% products out there. And in addition, I don't know of a whole lot of strains that are that low. They talked about what they were able to smoke back in the 70s in college and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know anybody who really wants to go backwards with anything.
Can you believe that, Frank? We had our legislators try to put forward a bill this session to limit all THC to 15%.
That's crazy.
And
that's what we deal with every year.
It's just absolutely.
And Montana has actually had a legal cannabis market for 20 years now. I mean, so we're not like brand new to the game. We went through a long period of medical and stuff like that. But seems like every time the legislature gets together, we have a group of people who come out of the woodwork. They try to limit our advertising, try to take away every right to do, anything we can do in cannabis. There's another bill working forward right now that says that basically edibles, there can only be 100 milligrams per package, and you can only have each serving can only be 5 milligrams per, and so it's just stupidity. It's just going to add to a lot more packaging and a lot more waste and stuff like that. And we saw that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, just like you were saying, it literally doesn't matter to the consumer. The consumer is going to still consume what they want to consume.
Right.
It's just a bureaucratic bullshit.
Now they have to eat 2 gummies instead of 1.
Exactly right.
What? Package size is the same. All of it's the same except for your serving size.
Well, like Cynthia was talking about over there, they got 500 milligram drinks over there. We're talking about limiting our serving size to 100. But
and that's a pastor. She is a pastor.
15. I'm imagining 15% edibles. We start getting these 10-pound gummy bears with 100 milligrams of THC. It's 15%.
That'd be epic.
They don't. Yeah, exactly.
The super gummy.
We can make that experience happen.
So, I mean, you can see quite a bit of the idiocy we got to deal with here in the States, even on the local level.
I mean, it's an ongoing battle everywhere, right? Just keep fighting.
Keep fighting, exactly. Never give up.
Most certainly. Well, with that news, I mean, we are pretty much wrapped up into everything that we have. I mean, Frank, is there any selfless plugs you want to throw out there? Anything you want to share with us before we roll out?
No, but feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you just want to contact. Yeah, you can find me.
We'd love to have you back on as well. You were very informative. We'd love to have you as a voice sort of from Canada. Give us some more insights as to what's going on there north of the border.
Yep, definitely.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys all for.
I'm gonna end the show with the "Like I Ain't" song, and that one's gonna go live on our YouTube tomorrow.
Cool, excellent.
Right. Ending it with a song.
Right on.
Stay lifted, people.
Yeah, we will be here after we end the live stream for you, Frank. But you don't have to stay. It was a wonderful evening, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Cheers.
you're welcome.
Thanks,
Cheers, guys.
everyone.
Peace.
Bye.
See you later, viewers. Bye.
Hey. Like I ain't sparked the movement not once, not twice, but 3 times. Like we ain't faced the legislature's pushback and still rise. Busting through the barriers, watch the opposition capsize. Hey. Like I ain't been on ballots fighting for the people's voice. Like I ain't seen the prohibitionists trying to mute our choice. Like we ain't rallied communities making all that noise, pushing for the green, overcoming all the ploys. Like I ain't seen the votes, majority on our side. Like I ain't watched the laws change with each stride. Like I ain't felt the shift, the cultural tide. Montana's cannabis scene now in full pride. Hey. Like I ain't faced the stigma, the reefer madness tales. Like I ain't counted myths with facts that prevail. Like we ain't built an industry setting vibrant sales. From the plains to the peaks, our influence entails. Like I ain't seen the votes, majority on our side. Like I ain't watched the laws change with each stride. Like I ain't felt the shift, the cultural tide. Montana's cannabis scene now in full pride. Like I ain't witnessed farmers cultivating the land. Like I ain't seen dispensaries meeting the demand. Like I ain't felt the healing, a helping hand. Montana's cannabis future, perfectly planned. Like I ain't seen the votes, majority on our side. Like I ain't watched the laws change with each stride. Like I ain't felt the shift, the cultural tide. Montana's cannabis scene now in full pride. Like we ain't turned the tide with persistence and might. Like we ain't transformed the landscape day and night. From prohibition shadows to legalization's light. Montana's cannabis journey, a soaring flight. Like we ain't turned the tide with purpose. Like I ain't seen the votes, majority on our side. Like I ain't watched the laws change with each stride. Like I ain't felt the shift, the cultural tide. Montana's cannabis scene now in full pride. Like we ain't turned the tide with persistence and might. Like we ain't transformed the landscape day and night. From prohibition shadows to legalization's light. Montana's cannabis journey, a soaring flight.